Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to In Divine Time Tarot. I am Myra, your reader, and this is going to be the reading for the week of 7/14. So this is the energy of the week. This is a little bit different than last week's energy of the week. So whenever I pull for the week, it's looking at the overall theme, the overall energy of the entire week, and what we can expect, how we should kind of navigate. So what makes this one a little bit different is it's on two different levels. So the first level is almost like a global level, and then we have a level just for us, right? So just for the, I don't want to say like the general collective, but kind of like on a more personal general collective. So what I'm seeing here is, so of course we have the Justice card, Five of Cups, Ace of Wands, and the Strength card in reverse. So when I first pulled these cards and I was looking at them, I immediately felt like the Justice card represents the states. This is what we were known to be. We were known to have this equality, like that little equal sign in the middle of her chest. Justice, strength, these are the things that America has stood on, even though it has had this kind of dark history, and many of the things that it has done has been kind of like covered up. You know what I mean? Like you see that curtain there hanging in the back. And so this has been the image that has been kind of projected around the world as to who we are. And right now with this Five of Cups, we're seeing that other countries around the world, other people around the world have lost that type of hope. And it's like this imagery that they've this idea that they've held of America, and that has fallen. It has collapsed. And the idea for a lot of Americans also has collapsed as to like how this country has kind of turned its back on what it said it was supposed to represent. But, and this is kind of where it dives into the personal level, is Spirit wants us to know that even with all of this occurring, right, even with the kind of like destruction of this imagery that has been created, and people around the world seeing this, and people in this country that believed in this country seeing this, don't lose all hope. That is the message that Spirit is saying. If you look at this Ace of Wands, you notice how the top part of the leaf almost looks like a flame. It almost looks like triumph. This is telling us that something new is beginning here. And in order to have something new occur, sometimes there has to be a fall of the old, right? It's just like when we are transitioning into a new phase of our lives, and the old self that we used to be has to die in order for the new evolved version of us, the one that is who we want to be, who we aspire others to see us as. That part of us has to be born. And in order for that part of us to be born, that old part of us has to die. And Spirit is saying that even though we are going through this time where we feel as though kind of all hope is lost, it's not. And with the Strength card in reversed here, this is telling us that, and this kind of like flips back to that global thing that I was talking about, is that the people that think that they are actually in power are not. And I know that illusion is a mother effer, but don't lose sight of that, because this strength that they seem to have, they only have it because of the people that they feel are beneath them. And it's an illusion. It's an illusion, just like the one that I talked about the day before, of the illusion of control. And I know it seems like, okay, well, they do have the control because they control the wealth, or they control the money. But who controls the way that they get the money? Right? You control that. So it's like, Spirit is saying that even with all of this happening, don't lose hope, because a new way is coming. And also to not doubt your own strength, first of all, and also realize that they don't have all of the strength that they think that they have. They don't have all of the power that they think that they have. They have a very, very concrete illusion of the power that they think that they hold, that they actually don't. The people hold the power. Now, to kind of like bring this down, because I know there was kind of like a very wide perspective, because I don't typically talk about politics, but this is happening. This is not just on the surface. It seems very political, but if you think about it from an astrological and a spiritual perspective, it makes sense. If we consider, all of these things, that the strength, the equality, the justice, and then we look at the hidden things, right? If we look at the dark past, like look how her legs are tightly together and there's that dark portion there, but this is justice, but you're hiding things, you know what I'm saying? And then there's the collapse of this, and then there is this fire that kind of almost reminds you of like the top of the Statue of Liberty holding that flame. You know what I mean? And then we see the strength in reverse. It just makes sense. And so for us, I think that this week in the news, maybe we will see some more things. I mean, we're seeing them every day that we find disturbing, or we find disheartening, or we find heartbreaking. And this is telling us not to lose sight of it, to understand that right now, a lot of people, and this is just not in this country, but a lot of people are going through things. If you notice, in multiple countries, it seems like there is a war or a collapse of government, or a shift in power from people that didn't have the best intentions for the masses, right? For humanity. And now that struggle for power, to stay in power, is changing, and people are starting to realize that, like, we can get out in the streets and we can protest, and we can write to the people in power that want the best for us, that want to see us succeed as a society. And that's just not in this country, that's in multiple countries that are experiencing turmoil. And so I think right now, collectively, it makes sense that these cards came out, because we are all experiencing these things, right? And it's definitely having an impact on us. It's having an impact on us mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and it's also having an effect on us in terms of like how we operate in the world, how we pay our bills, what schools we send our children to, how we freaking interact with people in the outside world. You know what I mean? So it's a very heavy energy, and I'm glad that we are being guided on this, because I definitely was not expecting this message. But let's see what else we have here. Spirit, can you give us some advice on how we should navigate this week? I know that there is a lot going on, but how should we navigate this week of 7/14? Spirit, what advice do you have for us on navigating this week of 7/14? I also, sorry guys, I'm also getting that this week, some of you are going to be dealing with a choice that you have to make. It is going to be I'm getting something about ethical. So this is going to be something you're going to have to make a choice. Either this is dealing with a job and it's something there at your job that's going on that you feel as though is unethical, and you feel as though it could be doing harm to people, or potentially could do harm to people, and it's not sitting right with you, and everyone around you is just trying to convince you that, I'm hearing, it's a numbers game, but you're just like, look at her face, like how she's looking down. It's just like, and her fist kind of almost balled up, like, I don't like this feels off, this feels wrong. This is definitely someone, this is not for everybody. This is particularly for someone, you know who you are if you're listening to this. It's something you don't like. And I'm getting this person is either maybe in some type of law enforcement or some type of big company. Maybe they're like an accountant or some type of hedge fund manager, something like that. Also, somebody is going to be making a choice to walk away from a relationship, and this is going to be a marriage. This is not like a boyfriend-girlfriend situation. Maybe you found out some things about your partner that just ain't sitting right with you. I'm definitely getting something coming through, but I don't think that I can say it on a social media platform. But you found out something that is disturbing, and you're making a choice to leave, and you did not see this coming. You were not expecting this at all. You did not know that this person was this way, but you have deep convictions, and it won't allow you to stay. So good for you. Let's continue shuffling. Sorry guys, kind of sometimes messages come midway through and I just have to say what I need to say, right? Spirit, what advice do you have for us for this week of 7/14? Spirit, what advice do you have for us? Okay, so for our advice, Spirit is letting us know that even with all of this that is happening this week, to not step away from ourselves, not to get lost with all of this. Doom scrolling is something that just popped into my mind as well, and I am definitely guilty of this. I doom scroll more often than I probably should, and I know how that can make you feel when you're seeing bad news after bad news, atrocities after atrocities, and it definitely messes with your psyche. It definitely messes with your spirit, and God is asking us to not to do that. That doesn't mean that we completely take ourselves away from the world and become hermits. But what that means is that we don't allow it to consume us. So this week, I want you to practice gratitude. I mentioned this before in another video. This week is the week of gratitude. I want you to focus on the things that you have in your life, the things that you are grateful for in your life, the people that you are grateful for in your life. Enjoy your experiences, enjoy your life. Find things in your life that are like little pleasures. So walking through nature, hang out with a friend, watching a movie on your couch with your kids. I don't know, whatever you find enjoyable, do that. Spirit is telling us to take action with our passions. So those things that you are passionate about, that you normally set off, but you actually really enjoy doing, this is the week to dive into that. Stay focused on the things that we want. So it doesn't mean ignore the things that are happening in the world, but what it means is, again, don't let it consume you, because it's very easy for what is happening, all of the things that are happening in the world right now, to easily consume us. Stay focused on the brighter points in your life. Stay focused on the things that you have control over in your life, and do what you can. Remember that I'm getting this phrase in my head: all things are possible through God. And I know some people, the name God means different things, so I'm just using the word God as kind of the term that I use, but please feel free to substitute it for whatever you use. The path that you are on right now, man, even though it may seem like, and this is bi-level, this is the path that we are on as a collective, right? In this world right now, it seems very doom and gloom, but also remember that the path that you're on right now is the path that you choose, whether you choose that consciously or unconsciously. And what I mean by that is, I'll give you an example. Let's say that I decide to doom scroll for 3 days straight, right? That is the path that I'm choosing. I'm choosing a path where I'm continuously putting myself and my nervous system in a state of anxiety and stress, and spiking my cortisol levels and all of that other stuff, right? That is the path that I'm choosing. Or I can choose a path of being aware, but also restraining myself and saying, you know what? I've looked at my phone, I've doom scrolled for an hour. That is enough. I'm off of my phone for the rest of the day. I'm going to go outside. I'm going to take a walk. I'm going to talk to my neighbor. I'm going to interact with people in my community. I'm going to go somewhere and volunteer to be of service. I'm going to donate if I have something to donate. Like, I am going to choose the path of what I want to do or what I want to be, and not allow myself to become consumed in the narrative of the world right now. Being aware and being like putting your head under the rug is two different things, but you don't always have to be consumed by what you see. And like I said, right now, I know it's very, very easy to fall into that trap, but Spirit is telling you not to. Some of you, now this card kind of just like popped out, but some of you are also considering moving abroad. And listen, I'm all for that. I'm a girly that loves to travel internationally, or just in general, but especially internationally. And I would definitely say go for it. I'm getting like Thailand or Vietnam for some of you guys, like Southeast Asia. I'm also getting Portugal for some of you. And maybe even Colombia or South Africa or Ireland. That's also coming through, guys. That's also coming through. So good luck with that. I am here for it. Also, some people are considering moving to Hawaii. You may have family there, or you may be originally from there, but decided to move inland. So like, you know, the land part of the U.S. And yes, I do know Hawaii is part of the U.S. before anyone thinks like, oh, it's not an international move. I know. I like geography. All right. So let's see what we have for our last card for our advice. And for that person, those people that I mentioned about someone leaving their spouse, so like their husband or wife, and for that person that is considering leaving their job for ethical reasons, these three, that's for you. Like, these are for you. The divine says, like, I know it's going to take courage, but stay focused because you're on the right path. You're definitely on the right path. And don't worry about finding someone else afterwards, or like maybe this is your second time being married, so that's why you were hesitant on leaving, because you're just like, oh, I have 2 marriages under my belt. Or like maybe you're a person that is highly against divorce and this would be your first divorce, and you're worried about like, how will this look if I try and remarry. And Spirit is telling you to just be ready, because there are new opportunities coming your way. Don't feel like if you leave this job or if you leave this relationship that you're going to be stuck and you're not going to have any new opportunities, because you are. So don't feel like that. Also, some of you guys have been bouncing back and forth between doing a regular job, like a regular traditional 9 to 5, or going off on your own to try and start like maybe like your own business or something like that. Spirit is definitely encouraging you to stay focused on your idea and what you want, because you are definitely kind of like what do you call that, like someone that's a trailblazer for their own, like you have your own vision of what you want, and you just have to choose it, because what you want is very possible. You just have to choose the path that you want, and you're going to be able to accomplish it, and you're going to have a whole new kind of life, or like way that you operate. And I talked about this in the last reading too, about there was someone that wanted to go after something, and they're going to be able to achieve it once they release the control. And this is very similar in terms of following and staying focused on what you desire, instead of focusing on the societal pressures of what people think you should be doing. Because you definitely are, again, this is for a specific person, you definitely are holding this idea in your head of the only reason why you're considering a traditional job is because you're worried about what other people are going to say. You're worried about what other people are going to say. Like, what you want is not a real job. You know, when people used to say that being a YouTuber wasn't a real job until it was, and now everyone wants to be a YouTuber or a content creator just in general, and people used to say, oh, that's not a real job. Like, I feel as though that you are more worried about those comments than you are finding a traditional 9 to 5. And your idea of what you want to do, for some of you, it's very creative and quirky, and for some of you, it's extremely innovative and brilliant. But still, there's that feeling there of, well, what will this person think? And it's like a back and forth, like a ping pong game in your mind. Hold your vision, because what you want is actually very achievable. All is possible. So let's see if we can get some. Look at that. I didn't even think about this. Take action with your passion. Period. Get it? What additional guidance do you have for us for the week? What additional guidance do you have for us for the week? So, some of you have definitely been praying a lot for guidance. Maybe you've been setting intention. Maybe you've been journaling. But I'm definitely getting a lot of praying, because you're looking and seeking guidance. Like, you feel as though it's becoming too much, and So this card absolutely makes sense. Surrender to the divine. So you're praying, but you're not giving up that burden that you're carrying. So you're praying, but then you're walking away and you're still extremely stressed and constantly thinking about that thing that you just prayed to be released, but you're not surrendering it. It's like you have a grip on it. It's like when you go to the store and the person tells you, oh, the amount of your purchase is $5.95 or something, and you go to hand the person your card or your money and they're trying to take it from you, but you're just like, you're holding on to it, like you're not letting it go. And it's just like, how do you expect to receive what you want if you don't release it, if you don't surrender? Let's see. Boom. Like, work through your fears. So clearly the reason why we are not surrendering is because we need to work through our fears. We need to do some shadow work. We need to see what is going on inside of us that is not allowing us to surrender. Is it scarcity? Is it abandonment issues? Like, what is it that is not allowing us to be able to surrender fully, to have the prayers answered that we want? This is a heavy week so far, y'all. I ain't even gonna lie. Spirit, what additional... Emotions are running high. I'm just gonna pull one more card, guys. I just feel like there's one more thing. Okay. So, sorry, guys. This is a lot of cards in this frame right now. Okay. So, as I stated before about releasing those fears, also when it says emotions are running all high and adjustments are required, this is the stress, right? This is the stress that we're putting ourselves through when we don't surrender. And when we work through our fears that are connected to that stress and that is not allowing us to surrender and potentially blocking those blessings that are coming in, we have to do the adjustments. The adjustments are doing that work, doing that shadow work that I mentioned, where you are going through and doing a full assessment of what is actually the root cause of why you can't seem to let go of this fear. So the other day, again, I'm going to bring it back to that reading where I talked about control. And I mentioned that the reason why human beings desire the need for control is because of fear. It's based in fear. When you lose control or the illusion of control, there is a fear mechanism that kicks in, right? And we can see that happening right now with the first spread right here. We can see that happening on a global scale right now, where people that were so content with power and starting to realize that, okay, maybe we don't have as much power as we thought we had, that strikes fear into them. So they want to do everything that they can, regardless of who it hurts, in order to be able to keep that control, right? So that is kind of on the larger scale. But when we break it down to us, kind of like on an individual level, we are all kind of experiencing our own little control dynamic. It is the control dynamic that is within inside of us, right? This push and this pull that is within inside of us that we need to surrender. We have to do that, and this is the week to do it. So this is the reading for this week of 7/14. I know, y'all, this is a heavy week. This week is definitely going to require a lot of staying grounded, finding small pieces of pleasure and happiness, and like I said, just like little things, taking a walk, talking to your neighbors, going out and doing fun stuff with your kids, maybe going to an amusement park or a free trip to the beach, or something like that. It's just, we need these things. We need this connection, and not only with others, but also with ourselves. And this week, we definitely need to do this work of working through our fears. I feel like this is a crucial moment. I know personally for myself, I'm doing a 3-day water fast. So going to be doing some gratitude journaling. I'm going to be posting these little journal prompts. The next 7 days, I'm going to be posting these journal prompts. Those are free, obviously, because they are just going to be on my social media. But if you want a more detailed version of that, I will have printable versions available that you can purchase. One will be just a gratitude printable journal where I'll have prompts in it for the next 7 days where you can journal, you can answer all of the prompts, write about your emotions, your feelings, do a self-analysis, which is what we actually need to do this week. And then the other one is going to be a little bit deeper. That one is going to be a bundle. It's going to have shadow work prompts for the next 7 days. So really, really diving into that deep work that we need to do, that those issues with abandonment that may be slowing us down, those issues with control that may be slowing down the blessings that are able to come into our lives, the issues that there may be with scarcity. So a lot of deep transformational work in order to help us get through this period, not only just these 7 days, but just in general to move us forward as a collective, but also as individuals that want to be able to grow and evolve and move into the next phase of our lives. And I'm going to be doing this right along with y'all. I'm going to be doing the shadow work, and I'm going to be doing the gratitude journaling every single day, because I feel as though this is affecting us as a collective. It's not just me, it's not just you, it's everybody. And this is really the time to lock in and examine that energy. I will put all links in my bio or somewhere on my social media so that you are able to purchase those journals if you want to start the 7-day shadow work and gratitude journaling. Or if not, I will be doing a set of 7 journal prompts that I'll make available every single day on my social media. So you can definitely feel free to take advantage of those. I do want to supply something for everyone. I know right now it may be financially tough for people to get things done. So I want to make sure that everyone is able to participate in this. That's why I'm going to offer the free prompts, but also I do have a paid version, which is more in detail for each day. Well, that is it, everyone. Thank you for coming back. If you want to book a personal reading with me, you can do that as well. I will also put that link somewhere. And I hope you all have a beautiful week. Stay blessed, stay grounded, and stay open.